Okay, hi guys. Hot. Oh, hot. It was under the public safety order. So this is like bumming me out and crushing my heart. So anyway, Anom0ly. If you guys don't know about Anom0ly, that's my boy. Well, we don't know each other personally, but I have mad respect for him. Okay, now tell me this is normal. Let me make. Oh, sorry, Hundu. Sorry, Hundu. I didn't see your tail there. Here, let's see. Can you guys see? Okay, this is nutso. Australia.
The creepiest news clip I think I've ever heard. It looks fake, but it's actually 9 News Sydney. Take a look.
It's those doing the wrong thing driving our record case numbers. Among the most concerning cases, a COVID patient who's tonight on the run from a hotspot.
What?
Police and health authorities have
guys,
issued an urgent appeal.
Are you serious?
Anthony Karam knows he is COVID positive when he steps into this public lift.
Is that
Already
Jason
breaking
Bourne?
so many rules, he doesn't bother to cover his mouth as he sneezes and splutters. The 27-year-old is still infectious but has gone missing from his Wentworth Point apartment. A warrant now issued for his arrest.
This 27-year-old chap, who apparently has expressed the view that he doesn't care less whether he spreads the virus, is one example of the worst of the worst.
There's little sympathy for anyone ignoring the health orders. Even this group of teenagers caught partying after dark at the bottom of the North Bondi Cliffs. Herded to higher ground by Polaire's spotlight and speaker, the 8 boys were placed in handcuffs and left to explain a $1,000 fine to mum.
681 penalty infringement notices issued in the last 24 hours. More than 400 of those notices were again for people being outside of their home without a reasonable excuse.
Sideline Sharks player Josh Dugan denies lying to police when he was found a long way from Sydney. The 31-year-old stopped at 11:30 last night in Lithgow, where he allegedly told officers he was moving to the area and feeding animals before admitting to visiting a friend. He and a passenger turned back to Sydney, only to be pulled over a second time, travelling in the wrong direction. The NRL is investigating and criminal charges could be laid. It's getting harder and harder to hide if you're doing the wrong thing, especially in the construction industry, a crackdown following on from the recent shutdown. Workers sent home if their paperwork isn't in check.
It is a struggle, but it's it's just what has to be done. Like, nobody likes telling people to go home. They've all got families to feed.
Our cameras rolling on another random blitz in Marsden Park.
Authorising me under the Public Health Act.
Inspectors have asked these tradesmen to show proof of their QR check-in as well as identification and vaccination records. One of the men here is from Campsie and he doesn't have his documentation, so he's being sent home. He may lose a chunk of his pay too if officers follow through with a fine. Tiffany Genders, 9 News.
How bizarre was that? It was like, well, this degenerate guy is coughing, so now we're arresting teenagers and making construction workers scan QR codes and arresting professional sports players for going somewhere we didn't want them to go. I mean, of course, that guy coughing everywhere was disgusting. Something's not adding up. Let's talk to some Australians.
We're seeing crazy things like yesterday, mothers being arrested outside of a cafe because they didn't want to hand over their names and addresses. Basically, under our current lockdown regime here, we're allowed 2 hours of exercise a day. We're only allowed 5 kilometres away from our home. You have to be wearing a mask everywhere you go. And essentially, a lot of things are shut. Really only supermarkets, and there's takeaway for cafes and food. But they even talked about possibly getting rid of takeaways and cafes over the weekend. There's lots of rumours coming out from our government being leaked into the media that they were going to actually take away.
I want to come more from a different approach. You know, I'm a pastor in Sydney, and what's happening, man, is insane. Like the hardest thing for me, and I'm bringing the people element because we're going with stats, but the stories of people are so heartbreaking. Like, pretty much, we had so many new people come to church at the beginning of the year. Like, you can imagine people stopping drugs, stopping getting drunk. Yet the moment lockdowns happen, they fail straight away. The mental health, they've been locked up in home for days and days. Now, what, 10 weeks?
Well, there's a lot of this on the internet that you guys can find. I had a friend that I sent. I had a friend that I sent something to, like, the protests in the street. And I don't think she totally understood, and I don't think any of us totally understand because none of us are really being given the truth. And I was like, with all due respect, babe, I love you, and I'm against oppression on every level. These people are being... Their human rights are being violated, the Nuremberg codes are being violated, and it's all in the name of money for something that has not only been... People die, there's been more suicides in the last year than there have been from things like this. More people have gotten AIDS, herpes. I can't quantify the damage of actual real stuff that matters. And the fact that it's still continuing is killing me. But my friend, who is like me, and I think like me, if I would have just received that, I would have been like, what is that? Just what? But at this point, saying, why won't they just do, we're in a pandemic, why don't they just do what people say? And like, instead of, because it was like a violent protest scene. I mean, I love this girl to death. I'm not gonna say her name or anything. She's a good friend of mine. I'm sorry, why do they, at almost 2 years, why do they not continue to be slaves? Baby, this is about freedom. This is about being a human being. I don't know if you've researched what's happening in Australia, but please do that before you respond to me in my WhatsApp that I only have for 14 more days because they're changing their whatever. There's something that has to be updated. I'm not doing any updates. ISO, in search of a flip phone, holler at me.